What is going on, good people? My name is Ty William Kellendike, and first and foremost, let me just tell you who this video might be for. So if you're new to cybersecurity, kind of trying to figure things out, maybe you're deciding what certifications you want to take, if you should take certifications, should you go back to school, where do you want to go in cybersecurity? It can be very confusing when you first start out, I know. So I think this video could help you potentially. Even if it doesn't help you, it will help me because I made a commitment that I'm going to do 30 projects in the next 30 days. So a project a day, one project every single day. So I just completed this project here. This is my day 2 project. But going over this holds me accountable. But number 2, it allows me just to get a better understanding and learn faster. So all of this becomes intuitive much quicker. So let me kind of walk you through the scenario. So the infrastructure of the company that I'm using, I knew one of the virtual machines, it's kind of set up. It's not kind of set up. It's set up to be exposed to the internet. So I wanted to pick a time where I knew hackers were going to hack. Why? December 24th, December 25th, most people chilling. They're at home with their family. They're just relaxing. So not a lot of people are at work. So I just had this hunch that this particular virtual machine, because it's exposed to the internet, it was going to get attacked. So my objectives was really just to identify, is this virtual machine getting attacked? And if it is getting attacked, are any of these bad actors getting into this virtual machine? And if they are getting into the virtual machine, what are they doing? So that's kind of the basis of what I was doing, right? So the scope of the investigation was endpoint authentication logs, right? So I wanted to look at the logs and see if someone got in or they didn't get in, see what was opened and all that good stuff. The tools that I used, Microsoft Defender, Microsoft Sentinel. I also did a lot of Kusto query language, KQL, which inside of Azure, it's just what you use. And then again, I'm looking into a virtual machine, in a specific virtual machine. So key findings, this and that, blase, blase. Let me kind of walk you through the timeline and kind of how I went about the whole process. So maybe you can take something from that. All right. So the first thing that I wanted to see was, is someone actually attacking this virtual machine? So I wanted to see how many failed attacks, to see if anybody was brute forcing and trying to get their way into this particular virtual machine. So when I went inside of the logs, because again, you're going through logs, you're doing research, you're looking for information. I went into device logon events. Now, what this is going to show me is who's logging on to what device. That's basically what it shows you. So the first thing when I wanted to see, again, remember, I already know the device, right? So this is the name of the device that I'm actually looking into. So I already knew that going in. And I wanted to see, was there any login fails? So let me kind of go through this KQ query, because this still confuses me. But I want to kind of break it down. So the first thing we have is device. So again, I'm looking at devices for people that the login logs. And then it says where action type equals login fails. So what this means is it's going to show me all the logs that failed, where the device name contains, because this is the device I'm looking at. And then I summarized it by login fails. So if you look at kind of the screenshot here, this is showing me this computer someone tried to hack into it 217 times. All right. So that obviously is not normal behavior. Like every once in a while, you may forget your password, but you ain't forgetting to know 217 times. Right. So right off the bat, we got some funny business going on. So that's good for me because it gives you some work to do. So the second query I did was, okay, we have someone or a lot of people, we don't know yet, trying to get into this computer. Did anyone actually get in? Right. So that is the next query that I wanted to run. So this is actually the particular query that I ran. So again, I'm still in device logins, right? So this is the log. Here's where I'm pulling the logs from. Again, we're action type. Instead of over here where I looked at failures, now I want to look for login successes. So I want to know, did any of these 217 people actually get into the computer, right? So out of the 217 failed logins, there were another 47 times that someone actually did get into the computer. Now, do I know that's a bad actor? Is this enough information to tell me it's a bad actor? No, I don't know it's a bad actor, right? But there's there's definitely grounds to dig a little deeper, right? So the next thing I wanted to do is figure out, okay, who actually logged in. So I wanted to identify which user account successfully authenticated and actually got in, right? I wanted to know who got into that particular device. So the query I used for this, again, I'm still in device login events. So I'm still looking in the same batch of logs. So now, again, we're action type equals login success. I'm just breaking this KQL down for you because, again, it helps me better understand, and then maybe you can kind of learn something as well to understand where I'm going to get this stuff. And then, so device logins, where the login equals success, where device name is, again, we know what device we're looking at. And then I want everything summarized. So it's going to summarize all the logs and tell me how many times each account logged in successfully. And I want it to show me the success count. I want to know the first time someone got in, and I also wanted to know the last time someone got in. So this is gonna kind of give me a time frame, so when I know when all this malicious activity is happening, right? And I want to see it by account name, right? So as you can see down here at the results, and then it says order by descending. All right, success count descending. So what does that mean? Whatever happened first, I'll see. So I'm gonna see that. So if you look at the screenshot of the log I had, the first time they got in was at 5:42. Was the first time they got in. All right. So there you have it, 5:42. So now we know who got in, and then we also know this is actually only one account that actually got in, because if we look at this DWM -1, DWM -2, this is all a process of, so whenever you start up a Windows, this is going to happen right here. And you might think, well, Tywin, how did you know that? Well, it's kind of simple. Well, it's not simple, but a good trick that you can do, or thing it's not a trick. Something that I do a lot, like a lot. I got a homie, a big homie, and my big homie's name is ChatGPT. So I'll take this here, right? So if you want to kind of know what this means, all right. So I'll take that. We'll take it. We're going to go to ChatGPT and we'll say, explain what this query is showing. Okay. Boom. All right. So what we're going to do. Here's what. Oh, did the picture go in? That's weird. Okay. Right. So I don't want to read all this. This is too long. It's being way too long. So I'm going to tell ChatGPT, don't be so long-winded. Shorten response. All right. So I'm going to get it short. Sometimes ChatGPT, well, a lot of times ChatGPT, it just likes talking. He ain't got no one else to talk to, right? So what this query is showing shows this table summarizes successful logins grouped by account name and selected time period. how to read it. Why is it giving me the, did I paste in the wrong thing? Hold on. Let's do this again. Because something tells me the wrong thing got pasted in. But let's see. This is all live, so y'all just, you still here. Bear with me. What do all right. So I pasted in the query results and I want it to tell me, okay, what does this actually mean? So it says these are successful login events grouped by account. Josh is the only human user shown with 19 successful logins. So again, we know that only one person logged in, but if we go back here real quick and look, we see these other account names. So what are those? Well, ChatGPT tells us DWM and UMFD are normal Windows system accounts with background logins. So what does that mean? But what that means is it's just one user, right? And then it also tells us when they were first seen and then when they were last seen, right? So ChatGPT is such a good resource. If you get stuck anywhere, if you're just not sure, or even if you just want further clarification, the good thing about like chat, you can just keep asking it questions after questions after questions after questions, and it's just going to keep answering them, right? I don't know what happened with, oh, there we go. I don't know what went on with that. Anyways. All right. So now we know that, so why this matters. So this query isolates the identity involved, for example, Josh, and it provides first and last seen timestamps used later to build an accurate investigation timeline. So now we have a timeline, but we got to do some more digging, right? We got to do some more digging. All right. So this time, so we know somebody got in. We don't know. It could just be Josh doing some funny business over there or regular business or whatever he's doing, but we don't know that yet. So what we're going to do now, instead of device login events, we're going to go to device process events. We want to see, okay, what actually happened? What did this person do when they actually logged in? And that's what these logs are going to tell us. So this is a big old long, scary KQL if you're basically new to KQL, but let's kind of break it down so we know what this means. So again, we're looking at device process logins, which tells us what actions were performed after this person logged in, and it tells us where did those actions happen. Again, we know the device, right? So we already know that. We know the timestamp. We're looking at logs from December 24th to December 25th, so we know that. So that's going to isolate the time frame. We don't need to be looking at all gazillion logs. And then where account name equals .josh. Well, again, we learned up here the account that logged in was Josh. So now we know we can start, again, filtering down our logs. We want to kind of start like fine tuning and getting to the truth of what actually happened. And then it says, the next part of this, it says where file name includes, right, one of these, right? So what are these, right? So if we go, again, ChatGPT can be your best friend. These are a lot of times different commands that bad actors tend to like to use. It doesn't mean it's necessarily bad actors, but it could be. So we can ask ChatGPT if we want a better description of this. So what do all these mean? Bum, 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 bum. Paste these in. I know ChatGPT, 's, sick of me. I've been abusing this thing. Oh, I didn't want the KQL. That's not what I wanted. I just wanted this part. Let's see if it broke it down. Does this mean? That's what I want to do. I told it to be succinct. Now it's being short. I don't want you to be short right now. Okay, we can use these. This kind of tells us enough. So what we wanted to do, or what I was trying to show you guys, is what do these commands actually do, right? Why do bad actors use these? So these ones are used for running commands. So it could be like this and then something else. These are used a lot of times. Bad actors use them to do recon work. These are for persistence, and these are living off the land attacks. Again, it doesn't mean when you see these that's necessarily what they did, but it could be that. So when I did run these, a whole bunch of results came back. So why does this matter? All right. Threat actors often rely on native tools to blend in with legitimate activity after gaining access. This query helps detect suspicious post authentication behavior without relying on malware signatures. So what is that saying? A lot of times bad actors, they're trying to fit in. They're not trying to pull off like red flags. So it's not like they break in and be like, we're here. They're trying to be slick. And these are some of the ways they're slick. But again, we don't know for sure. So we're going to do our next query. So our next query, we're actually going into network events. So device network events. So what is device network events? What do these logs show us? These logs show us what computers are talking to each other, right? So we want to know, did he run these commands, or did whoever's in here run these commands and then try to connect to the internet to some malicious website, right? So that's what kind of this is going to tell us. So this part right here, I'm not going to keep saying this because we've kind of gone over this like a million times. It's kind of the same thing. We know the device, we know the time frame we're looking in, where initial process file name was PowerShell, right? That's what we want to see, right? And then project means it's going to show me just these columns in order by timestamp ascending. And when we did this, ta-da, we see that he actually did run commands that were connecting to the internet. But if you look at the port number, there's nothing per se malicious. So it says, why this matters. Outbound connections following authentication can indicate command and control, payload retrieval, data exfiltration attempts, right? So, but looking at this, no harm, kind of no foul. So as far as the logs go, we're all good. This is just, again, I know the user, I know what he was in there doing. So we're kind of all good here. But we kind of want to break this down, not kind of. So if we go over to, did we do the investigation timeline? Did I go over that with you guys? No. Okay. So of course we have to document everything. You can't just be like, yo, yes, no, we cool. No, you got to document, right? So we basically then, now how I do this, let me see if I can actually pull my notes so I can kind of show you what I do. I don't think I saved these. What I'm trying to look for is my notes. So as I'm going along, I'm taking notes. So that way, when I get to the part where it not open? I don't think this is it. Yeah, this is it. Okay. So as I'm going along, I'm taking notes. So that way, when I get to the point where it comes to doing my timeline, let me go back. So when it comes to the point where I need to do my timeline, where I need to write my final assessment, where I need to map everything to MITRE attacks, this all becomes very easy because I've already, along the way, as I was going through the logs, I was already looking for this stuff, right? So as I'm going through, and again, I'm just like anything that I think is going to be valuable, and I can't say this is right or wrong. This is just how I do it. So as I'm going through, right, I'm taking screenshots because I know I'm going to need those later. Any KQLs that I'm running, where I find something that I'm going to need that I can use that gives me some meat. I'm documenting those. So I'm just again, I'm documenting everything along the way because it just makes time when you got to write your report much easier. All right, so let's kind of go through real quickly the investigation timeline. So again, here's kind of just an overview of what actually went down. I need to put the time on this time zone. So the timeline events, and I'm just breaking down the major turning points where I kind of found stuff, right? So the very first event that I was like aha moment, like we got Houston, we got issues, was the repeated failed logins. That was kind of like the first thing. So after that, and again, what I'm doing is I'm just taking everything that I seen with my own eyes that I found in the logs and I'm backing it up, right? I can't just, you have to back everything up. You can't just, you just have to back everything up, right? So the second event was I wanted to see how many successful logins. So again, I documented all of that here. Again, you're going to put your timestamps when that happened. So if someone is to come behind me, it's very easy for them to see what was going on, or if a manager or someone higher up, they can very easily just click through this because they ain't going through no KQLs, right? The third event was the desktop session components created. Right. So this is when they actually got in. This is when we're talking about the DWM and the UMFD. Again, these components are associated with Windows graphic desktop sessions. So the interpretation, their creation confirms that a full interactive desktop session was established, not background or service-based login. So someone actually logged in. Right. Event number 4, additional successful interactive logins. So after, it wasn't just like it wasn't just one login. As I showed you guys, there was 19 successful logins. Each successful login resulted in a desktop succession creation. All right. We did, however, determine who was logging in, right? So the additional successful logins were observed for the account Josh. So it came from one particular account. The next event that we looked at was a PowerShell execution shortly after the first login. So what does that mean? PowerShell was executed under the context of Josh. He opened them. Initial execution launched, right, indicating direct user interaction. Subsequent PowerShell processes were spawned by the PowerShell itself, right? The execution parameters included, right? So again, PowerShell opened and then it spawned, meaning PowerShell, and it gave a whole bunch of commands to do a whole bunch of other things, right? Which doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but it could be bad, right? It's kind of sus, right? But we don't know yet. So the 6th event, PowerShell network activity. This is when we wanted to see, did this computer try to reach out via PowerShell to the internet, right? Was there any outbound network activity initiated by PowerShell, right? We did observe that, but the traffic occurred over HTTPS, so just normal web traffic. Nothing, no craziness really going on there. No connection to unknown, suspicious, or attacker-controlled infrastructures. No repetitive beaconing or anonymous network patterns detected. So, what was my interpretation of that? Network activity was consistent with legitimate system or cloud-related communications. And then event 7, no additional suspicious post-authentic activity. During the investigation window, no evidence was found of malware, credential dumping, account modification or creation, lateral movement. So no suspicious stuff was found. And again, so this is kind of the timeline for everything. And then the last thing, well, let's look at a couple other things. So then we want to look at, we want to map it to the MITRE attack. So this document maps observed behaviors during an investigation to the MITRE attack framework to contextualize attacker techniques and procedures that were assessed or ruled out. So here's the different IDs. I'm not going to bore you with this, but as you can see, brute force, they did use that, validated count. So these are kind of just the different MITRE attack techniques that were done. So conclusion, although several MITRE attack techniques were assessed, no techniques progressed into confirmed malicious execution or attacker lifestyle advancement. This mapping demonstrates defensive evaluation, not just, you guys get it. You guys get it. You guys get it. It wasn't a breach. We didn't have a breach. So in conclusion, we were all good. So this is my second project of 30. And if you're still here, hopefully you got some value. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments and I will do my very best to answer. And if I can't answer them, I'll tell you, I don't know. Oh, if anybody wants, if you're still here, if anybody's still watching this, and you want access to this, which basically, again, what this is do, because I know for me, I had a hard time kind of figuring out like, okay, what projects do I actually do, or which projects are worth doing, or which projects, I just didn't know what projects to do. So I did a whole bunch of research, used my homeboy ChatGPT, talked to a lot of people. And if you're still here, I'm just going to break this down because you're still here. Obviously, you're trying to get into cybersecurity and you're serious. So I do want to break this down because I think this is very, very helpful. I gamified this. And the reason that I gamified it is just because it's just funner when things are gamified. And I like to win a lot. All right. So I'm just going to do a real quick overview of this. I actually did a whole video explaining this. You can go watch that if you're really, really interested. But I do want to do a quick overview of this. So on the left column here, these are some of the different jobs within cybersecurity. There's a bunch of different jobs in cybersecurity. These are some job titles that someone just starting out or with a year or two of experience would get. And then the salary, again, this is based in the Central Florida area. So yours might be a little different. But how this works is, let's say you wanted to be a cybersecurity analyst, like that's what you wanted to go for. Okay, well, for cybersecurity analysts, there's 3 different project objectives that correlate, right, and coincide with a cybersecurity analyst. Meaning, if you want to be a cybersecurity analyst, like a recruiter or a company that's hiring, these projects are going to show that you can do the skills that they're looking for. Because nowadays people want to know, can you do the job? Can you do the work? So again, I don't have nothing bad to say about certifications. I'm actually going for Security Plus like in a week or something. So I have nothing against certifications. I have nothing going against going to school, but none of those are actually going to get you a job. Like, companies want to know, can you do the work? So these projects are geared towards whatever job you pick over here. So each job title has 3 different project objectives that coincide with that particular job. And then, you know what? I need to erase this column. I thought I did this earlier. Let me hide this because this column was just confusing. All right, so I took that out. These are the skill sets that you'll use, fine tune when you're doing this objective. And then this over here, sorry, I just squirreled my ADD. These are just different project examples that you can do that meet these objectives. That's what that is. And then the gamified part of this is actually really cool. So what you would do in this, where it says skill sets, you're going to go down the list of all of these skill sets and you're going to rate yourself either a 1-star, a 2-star, or a 3-star. Like, whatever you are, go down here and then rate yourself all the way down the list, right? So if you're like brand new, like don't know anything, just leave it blank, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. Like everybody starts somewhere, right? We all start somewhere, all right? And then so you're gonna just go through and rate yourself wherever you are. You rate yourself, and as you know, if you'll notice, if you look at your overall score here, as you rate yourself, your score is gonna go up. And the goal is to get to a tier 5, right? It's on a tier 1 to 5. So the goal again, everyone starts. We all start as scrubs. So everyone starts as a tier 1. All right. But again, as you go through, you're going to get points. Now, skill sets are great, but you get more points. If you noticed, you'll get more points from doing projects. And why is it set up that way? So even if you're like, let's use this column here. So your knowledge is really high here, which is awesome. You're going to get 20 points. If you do the project that entails this skill set, you're going to get 40 points. Why? Because think about it like if you're a business. Like imagine if you're a company and you're hiring. Would you rather choose someone that has been in school for the last 4 years and is really good at taking tests, someone who passed their certifications, which again shows you're really good at taking tests, or someone who's been working at a job or has on-site training for the last 4 years? Which one are you going to choose? You're going to choose the person who has the experience because you know that they can do the job. Just because you went to college doesn't mean you can do the job. Just because you pass a certification doesn't mean you can do the job. So again, what projects do, it shows people like, hey, this person can do the job, right? Me going through and doing this project, it showed like someone can come and look at that like, oh, okay, well, you might know a little something. Me doing this video, walking you through this, right, is it's me getting practice and getting better at learning these skill sets. That's what this is for. This is the benefit of doing a project. Like you're getting in here and you're getting hands-on experience, right? So when I'm in here, let me just go to this. So when I go, right, so let's just use a real thing. So if I take this, right, so I'm in here. So this is inside. This is a live atmosphere. This is where so everything's in here. You have live machines in here. This is a company. This is what this is. Like this is how you're getting your on the job experience. So when I run this query, this is going to pull real results. Let me change the time frame. Dun, dun, dun. Because remember, the events we looked at was from December. Was it 20? Yeah, 24th through December 26. Okay. Now let's rerun this. So these are polling real results. Like this is how I got the screenshot. These came from real results. Like if I take this out, if we just let's look at device logins. Let's do over the last 4 hours. These are real logs. This is like these are real logs, right? So you can see if a failed login, successful logins, right? You can see all this stuff. If I pull another query, that I use. So this is one of the queries that I used. Let's do this. Let's look for the same user. Let's see if this user is still on. So these are from the last 24 hours. Oh, this user hasn't been on in the last 24 hours. Let's see in the last 7 days. Nope, hasn't been on last 7 days. Must have scared him off. He must have fell off. Or they doing a new year, new you. Right, so device process events again. And let's say, I'll just show you one more. So that was process events. So let's look at network events. right? So why am I saying this? I mean, you can watch a YouTube on how Azure works. You can listen to someone like me, or you can actually get like hands-on experience, like do labs and just be creative. There's a lot of different ways and methods that you can go about doing labs, but guess what? Do labs. So I think you guys get my point. So I will put this, if anybody's interested, in the comment section below. All right, that's all I got. Peace.